and welcome to the Emma and Daphne Show.
My name is Emma Wales.
And I am Daphne Cote, and we are artists and art instructors, art coaches. What else are we?
You name it.
All of that?
Uh, yeah, I could go with art history nerd in general. That's a pretty good
Yeah,
staple.
yeah, we're that definitely. And tonight we have a show on composition.
Yeah. So, in keeping with our theme for the month, we're dealing with landscapes. Last week, Daphne provided us with a beautiful image from an Alberta landscape. Where were you?
Um, oh, Banff.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
And this week, we are switching gears. I used a photo that I took while I was hiking in Nevada at Red Rocks right before COVID happened. This was the trip where we left and it was like, wash your hands. And we got back and it was like, you're not allowed to leave your house for 2 weeks.
Yes. And they shut down the airports like the day that you came back, and
Yeah,
oh, I was worried for
it's
you.
tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thankfully, though, we have this image to work with.
Yes. And let's see here. So we'll show the image a little bit here. It's at the top. Um, and you know what? Let's just change that. We're just going to blow it up and blow it big.
I love this. So we've been experimenting a lot with our new show format, and
Yes.
we've got some more stuff figured out from last week that
Yes.
there was some room for improvement that we're excited to experiment. Oh, I see the picture up. Nice.
Do you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I was just playing with it a little bit, moving this thing
Nice. Yeah.
around.
And you have
So
our
you can see the
time-lapse video
wonderful
ready.
like red rock, and we just thought this one would be great for the composition. Like, it's so interesting and quite incredible. And like I'm sure that the camera didn't do the color justice, did it?
No. Well, it's interesting. Like there were some areas where it was red, and there was even another park down there called the Valley of Fire, and it's like red, red, red. And there are parts where it's kind of pink, and sometimes it looks a little bit more subdued.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just absolutely gorgeous. I loved that.
Yeah, it looks like
I think
it.
that was taken. Um, is that at the panty wall?
The
There are a bunch of
what did
there are
you
a bunch
say?
of climbing walls over there, and one of them was called the panty wall, and every single climb on the crag was had some sort of reference to underwear in the name of it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was
That's
from the panty
funny.
wall.
My kids would love that. And I got a bunch of little boys that would love that. Um,
So
so we have changed up the format a little bit. We tested it out last week, and again, with every single episode, we're like learning something new and changing something up. So we get little bumps along the road, but hopefully every episode I think is getting a bit better and a little bit more
yeah, it
fun. And
feels a bit more intuitive.
yeah, so
I'm excited to see what you did today. I heard some giggles happening through my laptop, but I didn't see anything.
yes. So, um, we have created a little like video and sped it up a little bit, and then we're just going to talk about our process and everything. So, for myself, I was using
Oh, did you
pencil
press play
crayons.
already?
I did. Sorry. Oh, stop.
I wasn't ready.
You weren't even ready, and
I wasn't
I
even ready.
totally, it was totally my fault.
That's okay. How many seconds in
Oh
are
my
you? I'll
goodness.
just
No,
speed up.
we'll just do it again. Let's do this
Okay.
properly. Bear with us, everybody. Okay, Emma,
Yes,
are you ready?
I'm ready. On
Okay.
the count of three?
Yep. One,
Okay. One,
two,
two,
three.
three. All right. So we
Okay.
set it for 35 minutes this time.
Yes. So we set our timer and then we just start drawing away. And I was using Prismacolors, so pencil crayons in my sketchbook. And I just started to use some general color and map everything out, especially the composition. Like there's just so many geometric shapes and graphic details, and then I blocked it off according to tonal value. So looking at, especially in the rocks, it was all about light and
Mhm.
dark. So,
Yeah.
and then
And
warm and
notice
cool.
you just flipped your sketchbook. I didn't want to do that. I kept mine like portrait format.
Oh,
So I
yes.
just drew a little frame in there to keep my
Yes.
composition. I cheated.
So then I had a special guest come and help me. My son, who is 4, decided in the middle of the whole process to enter my studio and add some details. So he's up there. I tried to just get him to stay in the blue area in the sky, but he went a little all over, but he tried really hard. So
Is he ambidextrous?
he is. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, I love seeing those little hands creating.
Yes. And there's like part of his face and so what are you're using
So,
pastels?
yeah, our thing was we said in our description when we came up with the theme for this episode using either pencil crayons or oil pastels. And literally within 5 minutes before filming this, I got an idea of how I wanted to use oil pastels and pencil crayons. And it also
Oh,
involved getting some wax crayons. So you can do this
cool.
graffito attack just with oil pastel and oil pastel, but sometimes your colors blend. Whereas if you color with wax crayon underneath, the oil pastel that you put on top doesn't blend. So I used pencil crayon to scratch on top later
Oh,
um, and
cool.
reveal some of that wax from underneath.
You always sneak in something amazing
That
that
one,
I
I
never think
surprised
about.
myself.
You
Like, I don't
surprised
know if you
yourself.
remember saying, "Oh, I got an idea" right before we started filming, but I went
Yeah.
down. I still have the bin of, took it from my birthday party bin since I'm not doing any birthday parties right now.
Oh, I guess not. Yeah, and I was just taking pencil crayons. You might notice that I'm holding the pencil crayon quite a bit differently than I would just to write with it. So that's so that I use my whole entire arm to draw instead of just my wrist. And that
I see.
way I can draw for a longer amount of time. And then it's also easier to shade in large areas. So yeah, and there I go back to holding it like a pencil, getting in the finer details, having a little bit more control. And like
Nice.
for you, the pastels kind of lend to that, where you hold the pastels. You can't really hold it like a pencil, can you?
No, even when I have full pastels, these were like, again, my little mystery bag of pastels, not my nice one. I just kind of
Yeah.
went downstairs, salvaged what I could grab, and came up. But especially with chalk pastels, if they come big, especially with little hands, I'll actually snap them in half because
Okay.
otherwise they tend to try to hold onto them. It actually still happens
Yes.
when they're still full. They'll often try to hold onto them like this, and
Yeah.
then the way they put pressure, it will snap. Whereas
Yeah.
when you hold onto it like this,
Yes.
it's just a different way of working with your material, and
Mm-hmm.
you are forced into it because you can't hold it that way. You have to
Yes.
hold it.
And then you get so many more interesting ways of creating marks. Like the marks are have more variation and
Mm-hmm.
are more dynamic when you have to hold your tools like that. So
Yeah.
that's really
Just
cool.
FYI, right now in mine, I just finished with the crayon and now I'm going in with the oil pastel on top of the crayon.
Okay.
That's why the colors aren't really mixing very much.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I like that you're starting already to make a nice crisp line to separate your foreground from your background. I'm not
Yeah,
there yet.
I really loved in the Red Rock that there was this purple happening as
Yeah.
well as bright orange in the shadows. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so here's something that kept happening. Do you see how that clip came off?
Yeah.
So what happened is that I'm I widened the clip really, really wide and I shoved it on and it's working fine. But then all of a sudden you'll see it happen, and I think it happens like 3 times. It snapped off and like shot across the room. It was very dangerous.
Just not having it.
And
You overworked,
I know, and
underappreciated.
I'm like, I can't just like stop. She's in the middle of creating hers. This is timed. We got to get this done. So you'll see me like finicking with it, and all of a sudden these things just shoot right off.
So, Daphne's episode of surprises today.
Yes. Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle, but it like it made me laugh every time. Like it was
Yeah,
really
I kept
funny.
hearing giggles because I don't think we muted our mics. You just put your headphones on, and I, knowing that you had headphones on and couldn't hear me, just put my music on out loud.
Oh,
But
okay.
I heard your little one's little voice a couple times, so I got really excited to see what that was about.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just giggles.
So what is that just like a coffee or tea mug on your top right?
That's the mug I got when I went to see RuPaul's Drag Race
Oh,
last
right. Okay, I was wondering
night.
if there was like some sort of medium in it that you're using or
Yeah,
no.
it's called coffee,
It's
and
called
it was
coffee.
necessary.
Yes, to fuel you, to take you
Yes.
there. And so you're now
Yeah.
using pencil crayon on top of wax crayon and pastel.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is using the pencil crayon to scrape off the layer of oil pastel and some
So is that
like
what you're
extra.
wiping down at the bottom
Yeah.
on the
So as
paper?
the residue starts to build up, I would just like scrape it off on the bottom of my
That
page.
is so cool. What a
It's
genius
so
idea.
fun. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to hold my sketchbook up here because I don't think you'll be able to see it, but I will share a picture on. We always share our pictures the week following the episode. So for more detailed look, because sometimes the video, it's tough to see
Yeah.
all the finer details. So I'll be posting mine and Daphne's on our social media.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was
So
super fun.
I like watching us work so fast. Goodness.
Yeah.
If only we worked that fast in real life, eh?
I know. You lose track of time, I find, when we're doing this. And
Yes.
because I just got this idea in my head right before we started, I had no idea how long it would take. So I kind of threw everything down really quickly in the beginning.
Oh, I love it. Like
I
your
really love
colors
it
are
with
so
purple.
good and like they're so vibrant. Like I felt like everything was way too light in mine. So I did end up taking mine darker, as even you see I'm using that purple and
I
reds
love
and
the
forcing
purple in there.
things darker. But I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I didn't have enough time. And I did start out quite light with the pencil crayon because I didn't it's kind of like with watercolor, right? You don't want to lose your lights,
Yeah,
the white of the
I want to
page.
be able to keep them.
Yeah. So now I'm starting to dive in quite a bit darker, but
Yeah, oh, I love that you added purple. And I'm curious, like how, like I see your 4-year-old's marks in the sky
yes.
and some of the green. How did you kind of include that, or did you work around it, or did you feel like, how did you turn that
You
into
will
a
find
collaborative?
out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I made lines with him and showed him like, okay, you need to go above this line with this color. So he can make any marks he wants, but it had to be above that line.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know why we were so in sync. Maybe it's because we've been spending so much time together. I don't know. But he just kept on like picking up a pencil crayon and using it in the exact area that it needed to be used. So I didn't have much
Oh,
trouble with it. And then by this point, he is completely bored and ran away. So,
I heard, stay away from the painting, please.
yes,
Yeah, stay away
yes.
from the painting, please.
Yeah, he was just. I think, I think the clip is gonna snap here
Oh, is it?
at
Oh,
some
right,
point.
because then it's going to switch. I will say, to build off of what we were talking about last week, kind of saying the one downside to us not working alongside, well, we're still working alongside each other, but we're not sharing as we go. And I was saying, oh, I'm worried that like now we won't be able to influence each other's works as we go. But I picked up what you had said and really paid attention to incorporating more blues into my background and brought in your
Oh,
jam from the atmospheric perspective into my jam for our composition one.
cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
I just wanted to like make a note. I did go in with a white pencil crayon to blend the like green area, the like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a field or whatever the flat area is. I
It was
used a
more red
white.
rock, but it had like mossy bits on it. And so it looked
Oh,
crazy green from far away. But up
interesting.
close, it was like red with spots of green.
Cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, so I used a white pencil crayon in order to like smear it and blend it in together.
Hmm.
So that's an interesting tip. So if you're using wax crayon or pencil crayon, if you take the white and put it over top and just like do little circles or whatever have you, it blends the friction that it causes, blends all the other colors underneath together. So it's
Yeah.
an interesting
You can
way to
see
go
I did
about
the same
things.
thing with pastel, but
Yeah.
the pastel I find is a lot more overpowering than the pencil crayon. So whereas yours did more kind of gentle blending, I feel like mine added much more of like a milky
Right. Yeah.
tone to it.
Yeah. Every
Have
medium
you
is different.
seen those? I know Prismacolor makes, they're like blending pencil crayons that aren't white. They're like kind of clear.
Oh. Oh,
It's a
there it
thing.
goes. um, well, it has, I have RNF oil sticks,
Yeah.
and there's clear ones of those. Well, like kind of clear.
Hmm.
And they're for blending as well, where you just use it to like blend colors together. It's like adding a medium. So I would
Hmm.
wonder if it's kind of the same thing.
I think it must be.
Yeah. Yeah, so all of those like scribbles that were on the top there are now starting to become part of the mountains.
Which I love.
And then I noticed that even the sky color kind of went over top of the mountains. So I put
Hmm.
that over top as well.
I love that.
And
So
again,
I'm totally mesmerized watching.
I know. I held my hand further back on the pencil crayon, so I'm almost using it as like a brush, holding it like I would a paintbrush. Yeah, and that's why I also like doing everything a little bit light at the start and then at the end going in with some powerful color, because then I'm really confident as to where all of the areas go. Like
Yeah.
I know I'm not gonna, I don't know, mess it up, and therefore I'm able to draw a little bit faster, I think, as well. It's
Hmm.
because I do the
Well,
little
more
extra legwork,
confidently.
yeah, at the
Yeah.
beginning. But yeah, I just love that purple and orange. I sometimes
Yeah.
use that in portraits as well, um, like a burnt sienna and purple. Oh my goodness, it's wonderful. Makes really cool, amazing skin tones.
Yeah. I love, you can really see in yours the like, onduleux,
The
like wavy,
oh
curvy
yeah, yeah.
of the rock. Like it's really, really starting to take shape. Mine, I kind of lost a little bit of that. Just speaking of the like blocking it out lightly, I tried to work really quickly with my wax crayon because I wanted to have time to go in with my pencil crayon
Yes.
on top. So some of my light areas and dark areas were a bit rushed.
Yeah.
So I was hoping, like it's really when you remove, like you scratched it away with pencil crayon and you reveal that from underneath. So I
Yeah.
did my best to jot down the right areas at the beginning, but it was like you have to press really hard with the wax crayon so that
Yeah.
when you scratch off the oil pastel, it actually stays and comes through. So there are a couple of areas going over top afterwards where I was like, oh man, like that was dark crayon and I totally wish it was light crayon there. But for the most part, it wasn't too far off. But it really took away because it was right around that same area where it curves on yours.
So you're kind of going blind through it a little bit when you do that type of technique. That's really cool though.
Yeah. It was so fun. It's almost like when we'll do it with kids, often we'll do all sorts of colorful, like whatever colors they want underneath. And then when
Yeah.
you cover it up, we'll use one color of oil pastel. So when they scratch away, they have this like mystery image underneath.
Oh,
It's super
cool.
fun. Yeah, there's lots of stuff you could do with it. And then one other thing I did for the, not the field, but like the flat part, is I scratched in, instead of doing like the sgraffito, I kind of did like an incision
Okay.
And I carved into the oil pastel and went over top of it really lightly with another oil pastel so that the oil pastel just stuck on the raised areas instead of going into
the divots.
Yeah.
Or whatever they're called.
Yeah, so it was really
That's
playing around
cool.
with layers and orders and
neat.
Yeah, that was fun.
Those are red rocks. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they look, it's a little bit light. And I don't know, I was tempted to go darker, but I don't know what would happen if I had more time. Probably I would have changed to a different medium. Something a little bit more solid. Yeah, I would totally like break out oil paint and then put that over top.
Surprise!
Ta-da! Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Well, that was it. I loved watching you create that, and all the different layers and different things that you think of is just genius.
Back and forth. It's just playful. I don't know if genius is the right word. Playful, curious.
Well, you came up with some really amazing ideas that like people should try at home, like layering and scraping in. And I've seen people do that with oil painting where they will, especially in landscapes where they want a little like thin grass that's really light that comes up, that they just flip over their paintbrush and then take a big mark out of it. And even I went to the Rembrandt show in Edmonton a few weeks ago, and there were bits of that happening in their oil paintings as well, where they go and they scrape off a bit. So drawing into the paint instead of just adding on. So that's such a cool technique.
I love it.
Yes. Well,
I really loved seeing how you worked your little one's mark making into your finished piece, and that you invited that. That was awesome.
I don't feel like I had a choice.
In my movie, you had a choice, and it was
I was really kind and sweet mother that he was being so attentive and listening, so I couldn't really tell him no. He was being so good about it. So it was fun to have him do that and make all those crazy marks. And then I'm going to have that in my sketchbook forever, and I'm going to look back and remember the time when he was 4 years old.
You'll have to make sure,
Painting
like,
with me.
always signs their work. You signed your name. I don't see his name on it.
Oh, no, because he took off because he was bored.
Take him back.
I know, I should. There's next time. I'll get him to put his. He's 4, so he just does his first initial. So we'll just put a big A probably somewhere on it. And I think I might just let him do whatever. And so when we take a picture of it and we post it on social media, there'll be a big A on it somewhere. Both artists. That's right. Yeah.
I love parent-child collaboration. It's one of my favorite things.
I know it is. And I didn't plan it. So
together, this was a giant parent-child collaboration.
All right.
Yeah, out in the backyard, ripping paint around. In true Jackson Pollock style, there are dead bugs and dirt on that.
Nice. That's how you know it's authentic.
Yes, exactly. So it's awesome.
Cool.
Well, that was lots of fun. I'll be sure to take a picture. Make sure you send me a picture of yours too, so that we can both post those on Facebook and on Instagram, the Emma Daphne Show.
And links to our social media and our Patreon page are in the show notes below in the description. So if you'd like to follow along, that would be really great. Also share the video. We'd love to have more subscribers, because then we'd get our own little URL from YouTube. That would be nice. So thank you very much. Yeah.
One last thing, even if you are not supporting us on Patreon, at the start of every month we make public posts that share our theme. So that information can always be found there. When we make announcements that the information is available on our socials, it just directs you back there. So even if you're not supporting us on Patreon, please do pop by, have a look, and let us know what you think.
Excellent. All right. Well, take care, Emma.
Until next time.
Yes. It was beautiful seeing you, and thanks everybody for joining us.
Take care.